Welcome to Periodic Catcher, Nouns, Verbs, and Adjectives. And just so you know, we'll be going over more than just this particular lesson. And it's not going to be as long as the previous Periodic Catcher elements, where we went over the elements. In this one, we're going to go over a program that's exactly the same, except I changed information so that way you could use it in possibly an ELAR class. What you want to do is you want to obviously give this instructions here to your students. And what it's going to do is going to walk them through the program on how to put it together. And it has all the list of the different assets here, just like we had done in the Elements version. And then you scroll through, it tells you where to start. And again, it goes through the entire program, recreating it. And these instructions, they're very similar to the other one. The only difference is that I changed some of the broadcast message names and I changed some of the different variable information names. I just did that so it would associate better with the topics that were being covered for this particular lesson. For example, if you look at the, where is it? Right there. Okay, so the object right here is called nouns, and I think before that was non-metals in their previous program. And also one of the messages right here, it says start nouns. We changed that from, start non-metals. That was in the element section. So same exact program. I'm going to scroll back to the beginning here. Same exact program. It's just we changed some detailed information. If you watch the program run, I just changed some of the artwork, and it has the same concept as before, where you're being told to, whoops. Alright, we'll stop it right there. I didn't like the big red screen. So it's going to tell you right here what particular items to catch, and then as it throws the items down, your player will move this back and forth to catch the different items. Okay? If you need some information on how to program and put it together, watch the other video, because I go through that step by step by step. I don't want to bore you to death. If you are new to this lesson, I would really encourage you to go back and watch the element video, since it shows you how to put all these blocks together. Just give you a quick rundown on what happens is whenever you go through the instructions, you want to verify you got the right file. In this case, this is the completed file. You'll want the completed student version, and I'll pull that up here in a second. Let's not save. Okay, so this would be the student version. This has all the art assets that you'll need for the program, and you'll notice all the programming is blank. It's not been done for you. Over here are the sprites and the stage that you'll be programming. As you see over here on the program, you'll notice they all match up. And as we go through the PDF file, we'll go through step by step on the instructions that you need to use to create the program. Make sure you pay attention to the different broadcast message names and the different variable names from the previous lesson. And as you go through, it will also have the same information. And as you get towards the end, this is one thing I did not mention in the previous video, which I wish I did, is when you get to the end of the lesson, you can verify that it works by watching this video and seeing how it moves back and forth. And I'll show you a completed version again. And here are some written instructions on what's supposed to be taking place whenever the program executes. Okay, so you should see the variables increase in value. You should see the game timer decreasing. You should see the robot moving left to right, and the objects dropping down and the paddle moving. And then the game should end. There should be an ending to the game. Okay, right here on the creation station, these are going to be extension activities for students to elaborate based upon the material that they've been shown. If they've gone through, read the notes, have practiced putting this together, they have everything they need to know in order to go through and complete these extra lessons. Okay, now we don't show them how to use it. This is part of the having to get into the higher level Bloom's thought process to go through these items right here. So you might have some students that they might struggle with just going through and following these instructions. For example, right here, putting together these three functions for this particular item. There might be students that might need some one-on-one help. Okay, so they may not get to the point where they can go through and get to the final part of the creation station. You'll have to use your own judgment on how you'll grade them based upon their performance. But the extensions are there. Also, There's a short test at the very end that'll go through and quiz them based upon the material that was shown to them in the PDF. Okay, I'm going to show you the completed version of the program one more time so you can verify your results if you've programmed it and put it together. So here we are at the full screen version. I'm going to click on play, and there's supposed to be audio and sounds just like in the previous one. I'm going to turn that off because it's really hard to talk and think while that's playing in the background. So I'm supposed to be catching verbs, and I didn't catch a verb. I think that's a verb, and the green screen flashes every time I get one. Oh, got the wrong one, so it flashes red. I missed the right one, so it flashes green. And you can see kind of what's going on based upon the instructions. And the point up here, the points for the player, they should be increasing and decreasing based upon you performing the correct activity on catching or missing the proper items. And then the game time should the game time should lower, decrementing by 1, and then it should have a game over sign appear across the screen. So that should be the end result of your program. And also, just as a bonus item, I've given you another PDF. Oops, not that one. I'll cover this in another video, which is the periodic catcher template. This allows you to use the program for anything you're teaching. And watch this video next if you want to see how to expand and elaborate on these items. It's got some good tips and tricks. I'll get into the nuts and bolts of the program architecture on how we can actually expand this easily. And then this lesson right here coincides with the current one, except in this lesson we're going to go through pronouns, conjunctions, and prepositions. So you'll be able to go through all the material in this, and it'll be very similar to the others, and your students should be able to program it. So again, this one's about pronouns, conjunctions, and prepositions, and it's essentially the same exact lesson, except it's covering a different topic. Just to quickly talk to you about this, if you were wanting to expand on the nouns and the verbs and the adjectives, you want to put more words or change them up, you go to each object and then go to its costumes, and you can go inside here and click on the text, and you can go in and change the name. We can say tree, we can change that to a what's a good noun? Let's say road. Whoops, not rad, road. Okay. And then once I get on there, I'll just center it up by using my arrow keys, and now I got a new word. Let's say I did want the word tree on there. I could easily just come up here, I'm going to right click, choose duplicate. Now duplicated the item, and I'm going to double click on the word, and I'm going to change that to tree. Okay, so now I got tree. Now I got 6 nouns. One thing I need to do is go back to my script. On the random number that it picks, it goes from 1 to 5. That means it's going to pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it won't pick 6. So what we need to do is come back to our switch costumes, increase that value to 6, and now there's the potential for it to pick any one of these 6 items right here. So you can easily expand this to the highest number that you want. I don't know how high that is. I haven't actually had the time to sit down and try to stress test scratch. So nonetheless, you can expand these easily to get more words or change the words up for your program.